Before the red and white buckets, before the jingles and the global fast food empires, there was a man. He wasn't a CEO or a marketing genius. He was in his 60s, broke, stubborn, and standing over a stove in a tiny roadside cafe in Corbin, Kentucky. His name was Harland David Sanders. And this is the story of how a man who felt like he'd run out of time built one of the most recognizable brands on earth from a single, secret recipe. It's not just a story about fried chicken, it's a story about branding brilliance. Harland Sanders' story doesn't start in a boardroom, it starts with struggle. Born in 1890, his father died when he was just 6. While his mom worked long hours to support the family, young Harland was in the kitchen, cooking for his siblings. That's where it all began, not with a business plan, but with a responsibility to feed his family. He wasn't what you'd call a natural entrepreneur. He dropped out of school in the 7th grade and bounced from one job to another: farmhand, railroad fireman, insurance salesman, even an amateur lawyer. He was always searching for something more. Finally, in the 1930s, something stuck. While running a Shell gas station in Kentucky, Sanders started serving meals to tired and hungry travelers. He didn't have a restaurant, just a small table in the back of the station. But word of his food, especially his fried chicken, started to spread like wildfire. In an era of beef for drive thrusts, this humble gas station cook was unknowingly creating the blueprint for the fast food industry. Now, Sanders didn't invent fried chicken, but he obsessed over perfecting it. He was convinced the secret was in the seasoning, a blend that would add incredible flavor without overpowering the chicken itself. After countless experiments, he landed on his magic formula, a secret mix of 11 herbs and spices. But taste alone wasn't enough. His chicken, cooked the traditional way in a skillet, took 30 long minutes. That's an eternity for a hungry traveler. He needed speed. That's when he had a revolutionary idea. He saw a new invention, the pressure cooker, which was meant for vegetables. Sanders thought, what if I use this for chicken? He repurposed it, discovering that he could fry chicken in a fraction of the time while keeping it unbelievably juicy and tender. This wasn't just a kitchen hack, it was a technological breakthrough. It was the birth of fast food chicken, and his recipe, he didn't patent it. He protected it with secrecy, mixing the spices himself and locking the formula away. This mystery would become a cornerstone of the KFC brand. By the late 1930s, Sanders' Place, now called Sanders Court and Café, was a landmark. People planned their road trips just to stop there. And Harland Sanders himself was becoming a local icon. He started wearing his signature white suit, black string tie, and goatee. This wasn't a marketing stunt. Sanders just felt it gave him a sense of dignity. But that image, the charming, smiling Southern gentleman, became inseparable from his food. Long before social media influencers, Sanders was his own brand ambassador. He understood something fundamental: people don't just buy a product, they buy a story. And his story, the self-made man from the heart of America serving honest, delicious food, was irresistible. Then, disaster struck. In the 1950s, a new interstate highway was built, bypassing his town of Corbin completely. His customers vanished almost overnight. Sanders was 65 years old, facing ruin. Most people would have retired, but not Harland. He packed his car with pressure cookers and bags of his secret seasoning and hit the road. He drove across the country, walking into restaurant after restaurant, making owners a simple offer. He'd cook them his chicken, and if they liked it, they could use his recipe. In return, they'd pay him a nickel for every chicken they sold. It was a crazy idea, but it worked. Sanders wasn't just selling chicken. He was selling a complete system: the taste, the cooking method, and the story. By 1956, franchises were popping up all over the country. This model became KFC's DNA. The idea that you could replicate not just a meal, but an entire experience anywhere. The brand needed a name that captured this magic. Sanders Court and Café was too generic. One of his first franchisees, Pete Harmon, came up with the name Kentucky Fried Chicken. It was perfect. Kentucky spoke of Southern hospitality and authenticity. Fried chicken was simple, delicious, and universal. Those three words became a brand asset in themselves, communicating tradition and quality instantly. As the brand grew, so did the legend of its founder. Back in 1936, the governor of Kentucky had given Sanders the honorary title of colonel for his contributions to the state's cuisine. Sanders embraced it completely. The white suit became his uniform. Colonel Sanders wasn't just a man anymore. He was a character, a symbol. His face was on every sign, every menu, and eventually, every bucket. This was brilliant branding. It humanized a growing corporation. You weren't eating at some faceless chain. You were having a meal from the Colonel. It created a personal connection that other brands couldn't replicate. In 1964, at age 73, Colonel Sanders sold his company for $2 million to a group of investors. It was a fortune for him, but for the brand, it was a turning point. The new owner saw KFC not just as a restaurant, but as a global empire waiting to happen. They focused on rapid expansion and modern advertising. But the Colonel, who stayed on as a brand ambassador, wasn't always happy. He famously criticized the new owners for cutting corners or changing his recipes. He cared about quality and heart. They cared about scalability and profit. This tension between the authentic soul of a founder and the demands of a global corporation is a challenge every massive brand faces. Under its new leadership, KFC exploded across the globe. It became the first American fast food chain to open in China in 1987, a monumental move that made it one of the most successful Western brands in Asia. What made it work so well internationally? It was the power of the brand identity, the red bucket, the smiling Colonel, and the promise of comforting, flavorful food were universally understood. While McDonald's represented modern American efficiency, KFC represented American heritage and flavor. Colonel Sanders passed away in 1980, but his legacy is more powerful than ever. His image is still the heart of KFC's storytelling. He isn't just a logo, he's a narrative. A reminder that behind every great brand, there's a human story people can connect with. So why did KFC succeed so spectacularly? It mastered three timeless principles. First, authenticity. It was built around a real person with a genuine story. Second, simplicity. It offered a clear, emotional promise of comfort and flavor. And third, consistency. From the recipe to the Colonel's image, the KFC experience was the same everywhere. The genius of KFC was never just about the 11 herbs and spices. It was about building a brand that felt human, told a great story, and delivered on its promise, one bucket of chicken at a time. By the early 1970s, Kentucky Fried Chicken wasn't just a place to eat, it was a full-blown cultural icon. The dream that started in a humble Kentucky gas station had exploded into a franchise empire that stretched across continents. And while the secret recipe stayed the same, the brand itself was about to enter its golden age at time when it captured not just appetites, but imaginations. The 1970s were the defining decade for American fast food. McDonald's was the king of efficiency, and Burger King was rising fast. But KFC had something the others didn't: character. While competitors focused on being uniform and predictable, KFC leaned into its own unique identity. The secret recipe wasn't just about the food, it was about the mythology behind it. In a world that was changing at lightning speed, the Colonel's friendly face was a promise of Southern comfort, tradition, and a little bit of old-fashioned authenticity. People didn't just go to KFC for a quick meal. They felt like they were connecting with a story. The brand's leadership understood this powerful emotional pull. Their marketing campaigns started focusing less on speed and price, and more on nostalgia and personality. This was a revolutionary move. For the first time, a fast food chain became a cultural brand built on emotion and trust. Even after selling the company, Colonel Sanders was the heart and soul of KFC. He wasn't just a founder. He became its living mascot. You saw his face on signs, menus, and TV commercials. His warm southern accent, that iconic white suit, and his gentle humor made him instantly recognizable. It was marketing genius. People didn't see him as a corporate talking head. They saw him as the guy who guaranteed quality and hospitality. When he'd say, "It's finger-licking good," with that twinkle in his eye, you believed him. That slogan perfectly captured the brand's promise: indulgence, amazing flavor, and just plain fun. By the mid-70s, KFC was pouring millions into advertising. But they weren't just selling chicken, they were selling the American dream, wrapped up in Southern charm. Their ads were filled with images of families laughing and sharing a bucket of chicken. KFC became synonymous with togetherness. It wasn't just a restaurant. It was a comforting, familiar part of family life. This emotional branding was groundbreaking. KFC wasn't just marketing a product, it was marketing a feeling. Today, huge brands like Apple and Coca-Cola use that same playbook, linking their products to universal human values like joy and connection. And if there's one thing that defines KFC, it's that iconic red and white striped bucket. It wasn't just packaging, it was brilliant branding. Before logos were plastered everywhere, the bucket did all the talking. It was distinctive, practical, and it was emotional. You saw that bucket and you knew exactly what was inside. Holding a KFC bucket meant you were holding more than just food, you were holding an experience. From a design perspective, it created a ritual. The bucket sat in the middle of the table, encouraging everyone to share, which perfectly matched KFC's family meal positioning. It became a pop culture icon in its own right, appearing in movies and TV shows. It was a masterstroke. By the late 70s and early 80s, KFC had gone global, with over 3,000 locations worldwide. Fried chicken had universal appeal. It's easy to eat, festive, and can be adapted to local tastes. But KFC didn't just export chicken. It exported a sense of American nostalgia. Take Japan, for example. Thanks to a clever marketing campaign in the 70s called Kentucky for Christmas, eating KFC on Christmas Eve became a national tradition. In 1987, when KFC opened in Beijing, it was a symbol of modernization, and KFC adapted brilliantly. Instead of forcing American culture, they localized their menu, adding things like rice dishes and egg tarts. This strategy was one of their greatest strengths. By the 2000s, KFC was the largest fast food chain in China, proving you can stay true to your brand while respecting local culture. In 1986, a major shift happened. PepsiCo acquired KFC, bringing it into a corporate family with Pizza Hut and Taco Bell. This fundamentally changed KFC's DNA. It went from a brand driven by a single personality to a corporate powerhouse. With PepsiCo's muscle, KFC expanded even faster. It became slicker and more modern, but some felt it lost a bit of its original soul. Even the Colonel himself had criticized some changes before his death in 1980, famously saying, "It's not my chicken anymore." His words hinted at a core challenge for any growing brand. How do you get bigger without losing your authenticity? The 1990s brought an identity crisis. Health consciousness was on the rise, and fried food was suddenly the villain. Younger customers started to see KFC as old-fashioned. To modernize, the company officially shortened its name to just KFC, trying to downplay the word fried. This marked a shift from Southern comfort to global fast food, but the transition was awkward. Without the Colonel's personal touch, KFC started to feel a bit generic. New competitors like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes were gaining ground with fresher branding, and KFC had to figure out how to become special again. By the 2010s, KFC knew it needed a major comeback. So they went back to their roots, the Colonel himself. They brought him back in a series of hilarious, self-aware ad campaigns, with different comedians and actors playing him. Each version was a little over the top, poking fun at the brand's history while celebrating it. It worked brilliantly. It made KFC feel fresh and confident. They also revamped their stores, updated the packaging, and put the focus back on quality. And the slogan, its finger-licking good made a triumphant return. KFC realized the Colonel wasn't just a piece of history. He was the symbol of honesty, flavor, and hospitality that customers still loved. Looking back, KFC's journey teaches us so much about branding. A person can become a brand like Colonel Sanders did. Storytelling creates a legacy that lasts for generations. And you can adapt to different cultures without losing your core identity. Today, KFC serves over 12 million people every day in more than 150 countries. The Colonel's face still smiles from every bucket, a testament to how one man's dream became a global lesson in building an immortal brand. Welcome back to our deep dive into the story of KFC. We've journeyed from a humble roadside cafe to a global empire. But as the 21st century dawned, KFC faced its biggest challenge yet. In a world of fleeting trends and digital noise, how does a brand everyone knows stay a brand everyone loves? The answer would require KFC to look back to its roots to leap into the future. The early 2000s were a tough time for the king of fried chicken. The market was flooded with new, trendy competitors like Chick-fil-A and Popeyes. Health trends were shifting, and the internet was changing the rules of marketing forever. Slogans and jingles weren't enough. Consumers wanted interaction, authenticity, and personality. KFC, born in the age of roadside diners, was starting to feel like a relic. Sales were slipping, its identity was muddled, and it was in danger of becoming yesterday's news. But beneath the surface, KFC had a secret weapon that few brands could match, the one and only Colonel Sanders. In 2015, after years of trying to modernize, KFC made a bold decision. They stopped running from their past and embraced it with open arms and a great sense of humor. They brought back Colonel Sanders, but not as a stuffy corporate icon. Instead, a series of comedians and actors, from Norm Macdonald to Reba McEntire, played hilarious, exaggerated versions of the Colonel. Each ad was a masterclass in self-aware branding. KFC was saying, "We know we're a bit old-fashioned, and we're not afraid to laugh about it." This brilliant move didn't just sell chicken, it sold a personality. Suddenly, a new generation saw KFC not as an outdated chain, but as a cool, iconic brand that was in on the joke. This new attitude needed a new look. KFC's branding got a major facelift. The logo became bolder, the lines cleaner, and the Colonel's face was redrawn for the digital age, keeping its warmth but fitting perfectly on a smartphone screen. But the real genius was in their digital strategy. KFC started thinking like a viral content creator, not a corporation. Their most legendary move? On Twitter, they quietly followed just 11 people, the 5 Spice Girls and 6 random guys named Herb. It took a while, but the internet eventually cracked the code: 11 herbs and spices. The stunt went viral, earning millions of views and cementing KFC's reputation as a marketing powerhouse in the social media age. It was classic KFC clever, witty, and unforgettable. As KFC conquered the digital world, it also mastered the physical one by becoming a master of local adaptation. While many American brands tried to force their identity on other cultures, KFC did the opposite. It blended in. In China, KFC isn't just fast food. It's a premium, family-friendly destination, serving local favorites like egg tarts and congee. In India, they embraced the culture with vegetarian options like the paneer zinger. In Africa, they became a hub for community and celebration. This strategy was visionary. KFC understood that to be a global brand, you have to feel like a local friend. Today, more than half of KFC's revenue comes from outside the US, proving that flexibility is the key to global success. KFC didn't just become a brand, it became a pop culture phenomenon. They released a dating simulator game where you could romance an anime Colonel Sanders. They sold fried chicken-scented sunscreen and streetwear. They collaborated with influencers and created memes that took over the internet. Why did all of this work? Because KFC never takes itself too seriously. In a world of polished corporate messages, KFC feels human. It's funny, a little weird, and always familiar. It proved that a brand's greatest strength is knowing exactly who it is and having fun with it. Of course, great marketing is nothing without a great product. KFC kept innovating its menu, introducing modern classics like the Zinger Burger and Twister Wraps, while keeping its original recipe sacred. They weren't afraid to get bold with limited-time offers like the infamous Double Down or Nashville Hot Chicken, and even experimented with plant-based options. By blending old-school flavor with new ideas and modern tech like digital ordering kiosks, KFC showed that a legacy brand could still be a leader in innovation. But even legends have bad days. In 2018, KFC in the UK faced a nightmare scenario. A supply chain failure left hundreds of stores with no chicken. For a chicken restaurant, it was a catastrophe. But instead of hiding, KFC faced the crisis with its signature wit. They took out a full-page newspaper ad showing an empty bucket with the logo's letters rearranged to spell FCK. The headline? "We're sorry, a chicken restaurant without any chicken." It's not ideal. The public loved it. The ad turned a PR disaster into a masterclass in honesty and humor, proving that when you own your mistakes, people will respect you for it. So, what's the secret sauce to KFC's modern success? It's a simple formula updated for a new era. They stay consistent with their core message. It's finger-licking good. They adapt their style to fit the times, using memes and digital humor. They connect with us emotionally through nostalgia and laughter. And most importantly, they are self-aware and culturally intelligent. KFC teaches us that branding isn't about chasing trends. It's about telling your own story in new and exciting ways. Today, KFC continues to evolve. AI helps power its marketing, augmented reality brings the kernel to life, and sustainability is shaping its future. But through it all, the brand remains true to its roots. More than 90 years after a man with a dream started selling chicken from a gas station, the story of KFC is about so much more than food. It's a story about resilience, innovation, and the power of a great personality. It proves that legacy brands don't have to fade away. They can reinvent themselves, connect with new generations, and become more iconic than ever. Thanks for watching our series on the incredible story of KFC. It's a testament to how authenticity and a little bit of humor can turn a humble idea into a timeless legend. For over 9 decades, across more than 25,000 restaurants, one secret recipe has built an empire. KFC is no longer just a brand, it's a symbol of how tradition and innovation can coexist. But the real question is what comes next? The world has changed, and so has branding. Today, a brand isn't just about colors, logos, or slogans. It's about meaning the emotional and cultural space a brand occupies in people's minds. Back in the 1950s, being a brand meant being recognized. By the 2000s, it meant being consistent. But today, in our digital era, it means having a relationship. KFC's greatest modern success is that it has evolved from selling a product to building a relationship. It doesn't just sell chicken, it sells a feeling, comfort, nostalgia, and a touch of humor in an increasingly complex world. As global audiences crave authenticity, KFC's story-driven marketing keeps it grounded. The Colonel isn't just a mascot, he's a symbol of trust and legacy, something no amount of ad spend can buy. The future of KFC lies at the intersection of heritage and innovation. While the brand continues to celebrate its classic identity, it's also embracing cutting-edge technology. Across Asia, KFC is testing AI-powered ordering systems, facial recognition payments, and robotic kitchens that serve customers with precision. In China, some stores have digital walls that adapt to customer moods. In Japan, delivery drones are being tested for remote areas. And in the US, KFC is integrating with smart home devices. Imagine just asking Alexa to order my usual from KFC, but even as the brand dives deep into automation, the experience remains human. Technology doesn't replace emotion, it amplifies it. Every single touchpoint, whether it's a delivery app or an interaction in the store, reflects the same tone, playful, warm, and familiar. That's the secret of modern digital branding. Technology is the tool, but emotion is the product. As environmental awareness grows, legacy brands face a new kind of challenge. Not how to make people love them, but how to make people respect them. KFC's modern strategy includes a strong focus on sustainability and ethical responsibility. By 2030, the company aims to make all its consumer packaging 100% recoverable or reusable and to transition to sustainable palm oil and chicken farming practices. In several countries, KFC is even testing plant-based chicken alternatives in partnership with innovators like Beyond Meat. This isn't just a marketing move, it's a brand evolution. It's KFC saying, we can stay true to who we are and still care about the world we serve. Modern branding isn't about changing your essence. It's about aligning your purpose with modern values. By embracing sustainability, KFC adds a new emotional layer to its identity, one of responsibility. If you've ever seen KFC's social media or its YouTube ads, you know the brand doesn't act like a corporate giant, it acts like a person. It jokes, it apologizes, it teases competitors, and sometimes it even pokes fun at itself. This human tone is one of the brand's greatest strengths. In a world oversaturated with marketing, audiences crave honesty and laughter, and KFC delivers that better than almost anyone else. Whether it's the famous FCK apology campaign after a chicken shortage, the Colonel's dating simulator game, or the fried chicken-scented candle, each move reinforces a single message. We know who we are, and we're not afraid to have fun. This tone creates something priceless, emotional proximity. KFC doesn't talk at its audience, it talks with them. And that is the future of all branding. What makes KFC so unique is how universal it feels. From London to Lagos, from Seoul to São Paulo, the red bucket means something slightly different to everyone, yet the feeling is the same: joy, comfort, indulgence. Unlike many Western brands that failed to localize effectively, KFC embraced cultural translation. In India, it offers extensive vegetarian menus. In China, breakfast rice bowls are a staple. In the Middle East, all menus are Halal certified. And in Japan, KFC has become a national Christmas tradition, a cultural phenomenon no other foreign fast food brand has ever achieved. How did KFC manage to blend into so many cultures without losing its essence? Because the brand doesn't sell American food. It sells Kentucky comfort and emotion that transcends geography. That is a powerful lesson for every brand aspiring to go global. Do and export your product, export your story. KFC's story about hard work, resilience, and incredible flavor resonates across cultures because those are human values, not just American ones. So let's break down what every marketer, entrepreneur, or brand strategist can learn from KFC's incredible journey. First, brand identity must evolve, not replace itself. KFC never abandoned its founder's image or his slogan. It simply reinterpreted them for each new generation. That is why its finger-licking good still works after 60 years. It is timeless, not just trendy. Second, authenticity is the strongest marketing tool. Audiences can spot insincerity a mile away. KFC's humor, honesty, and nostalgia make it relatable. Whether through self-deprecating ads or heartfelt tributes to the Colonel, KFC just feels real. Third, localization builds loyalty. KFC's global success isn't just about expansion, it's about adaptation. Localization makes a global brand feel local, while consistency keeps it recognizable. And that leads to the next lesson: consistency creates trust. The bucket, the red color palette, the Colonel all have remained constant visual anchors. Even when experimenting, the brand never loses sight of its visual DNA. And finally, emotion outlasts innovation. Trends fade, technology changes, but emotional branding, humor, nostalgia, comfort keeps people coming back. KFC's story is proof that you can be old-fashioned and future-ready at the very same time. The future of fast food won't be about speed, it will be about connection. As AI and automation take over repetitive processes, brands must focus more on human values, empathy, story, and creativity. In this environment, KFC's human-centered approach is its greatest competitive advantage. Imagine the near future. You walk into a KFC, and a digital kiosk recognizes you, greets you by name, and suggests your usual order. As you wait, a screen shows personalized stories, the history of KFC in your region, or a behind-the-scenes look at how your meal is sourced sustainably. You're not just eating, you're participating in a story. That's where global branding is heading. Not transactional, but experiential, not generic, but personal. And KFC, with its rich legacy of storytelling, humor, and emotion, is perfectly positioned to lead that movement. From a dusty roadside café in Corbin, Kentucky, to a global empire worth billions, KFC's journey is more than just a business story. It's a lesson in the power of belief, persistence, and creativity. Harland Sanders didn't start with a marketing plan or data analytics. He started with a simple promise to make people smile through good food. Decades later, that promise still drives the brand's every campaign, every logo redesign, and every single tweet. That's the real secret recipe. It isn't the 11 herbs and spices, it's the passion to keep a story alive through generations. Brands fade when they forget their story. Legends last when they keep telling it, over and over again, in new ways. KFC's legend endures because it never stopped telling its story, whether through nostalgia, humor, or innovation. The Colonel may be gone, but his spirit lives in every bucket, every commercial, and every smile. From a man in a white suit to a global symbol of comfort and connection, KFC's story isn't just about chicken. It's about legacy. It's about understanding that great brands aren't built in factories, they're built in hearts. The world may change, but one thing remains true: a good story, like good chicken, will always be finger-licking good. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into branding, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more stories like this one. We'll see you in the next one.